Whether it lived up to the hype or not, that's up for debate, but quite frankly, it was an exciting night of high school football here in Eastern North Carolina. Hello, everybody. I'm Josh Wolfish, joined as always by my colleague Ethan Joyce. Ethan, both of us were in Bailey. Southern Nash coming away with a 21-10 victory over Tarboro. Might as well have been 14-10. Southern Nash tacking on one of those wonderful garbage time touchdowns that helps keep their average relatively decent. But Tarboro did a wonder on Southern Nash's rushing attack for the first 3.5 quarters. What are some of your general takeaways from tonight's game?
Well, I think one of the interesting things about it is, I write a story about how they're rotating all these guys in, and they're trying to keep everybody fresh, and the offense is going to move fast, and they're not going to try to huddle as much. And then their drive where they score and take it over, they just grinded it down, marched down the field slowly in old school Southern Nash fashion. It was impressive to see them respond from being down 3. Coming into that fourth quarter, and the offense just wasn't really working. But it was just as impressive to see Tarboro just clamp down that rushing attack for basically the entire game.
The Firebirds entered tonight averaging 331 rushing yards. They had 50 in the first 3 quarters. A tremendous performance from Tarboro.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we've talked about last night a little bit, the fact that I was with Tarboro all this week, and that was something they hammered home, was if you see this formation, this is the play they're going to run. If you see this formation, and to a man, Tarboro made their adjustments correctly. They were in the right spots, and all of a sudden, I'll use I think a great example is Southern Nash ran a toss sweep on, I think it was like 3rd and 3 in the second quarter, and they were near the goal line, and Tarboro wraps up for a loss of 5. That's the exact play Southern scored a 20-yard touchdown on against South Johnson last week. So great job by Tarboro to understand what Southern Nash was going to do and shut it down. Obviously, it wasn't enough. 10 points isn't going to win you a lot of football games in Eastern North Carolina. How much do you credit Tarboro's lack of success on offense to Southern Nash playing great defense? How much of it is just sort of, I'll call it dysfunction, for lack of a better word, of the Tarboro offense?
Well, you mentioned those early quarter stats. Southern Nash goes into the half with I think it was around 30 yards rushing. Tarboro has 98 or right at 100 somewhere, but that comes mostly from a 60-yard run. To automatically respond to Southern Nash's first score, and so this wasn't a bad defensive performance for Southern Nash either. Defensively, this game was wonderful to watch. It was impressive to see it play out the way it did.
We were talking halftime, because we're both there. Both of us love a great defensive battle, and we got
grind them down,
and we got that. Tarboro's penalties on offense in the lead in the fourth quarter notwithstanding, these were 2 very good defensive football teams going at each other. And for a while, I thought that game was going to end 10-7 Tarboro, and we were going to come here and just talk about what a classic defensive battle that was. Now, granted, you talk about the rotation, and I think there's no doubt about it that the rotation played a big factor in the fourth quarter, because Southern Nash is bringing on fresher bodies, and Tarboro's rotating the same 14, 15 guys through defensively. Southern Nash wasn't able to get many explosive plays, but they're able to get 4 or 5 yards all of a sudden because Tarboro's a little bit tired.
And 14 and 15 guys that have been playing defense all week, it seems like.
And some of those guys are playing offense as well. Again, Tarboro will not make excuses. They're not going to use fatigue as excuses. But even Jeff Craddock said, give them credit. They were a lot fresher than we were. We weren't necessarily tired, but they were definitely fresher. So we'll move off that game in Bailey. We got a couple other games that I want to talk about, and 2 very big wins for 2 very different reasons. Rocky Mount gets revenge, goes down to Greenville, beats Rose 66-41. Nash Central stuns Bedingfield in the first half. They're up 30-0 at halftime. Gets Bedingfield, end up holding on to win 43-28. Which, in your opinion, was the bigger win, and why?
I would probably say Rocky Mount, just because they put so much of an emphasis on that Apex Middle Creek game and that Greenville Rose game. And, to not win against Middle Creek, it really put more emphasis on this Greenville Rose game. And, if you look at the game they put together, they scored in all these different ways. The offense added a few touchdowns, but, Artavius Richardson had an interception return for a touchdown. I'm pretty sure they caused a fumble right at the goal line and jumped on it to score another touchdown. Detrell Rivas has a punt return for a touchdown. So, not only is it a big win for the team this season, but they show themselves they can score the ball in a lot of ways now.
Definitely, and as they move into a difficult Big East schedule, that win is a nice little comfort for them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to look at Nash Central, and not that Rocky Mountain's win wasn't big, but for Nash Central to go be 4-1, they're going to finish on conference record with a winning record at the very least.
Yep.
And if you would have told me that before the season, you might have been able to get paid Leicester City odds that Nash Central was going to win 4 of their non-conference games. And quite frankly, they have to go to Bunn, and Bunn's going to be a difficult game, but I don't know if that's a not winnable game for them anymore.
Right.
They can go to Bunn and they can compete. Now, I'll still probably end up taking the Wildcats in that game, but that's no longer a not winnable game. And quite frankly, it makes the Big East so exciting, right? So Southern's going to be 5-0. If they win next week in Ann Griffin, they'll be 6-0. Rocky Mountain will almost surely be 5-1. Fike is 4-1 right now. Northern's 3-2 after beating Goldsboro tonight. Yep. Nash Central's 4-1, and Wilson Hunt's 2-2, but they haven't really lost anybody halfway decent.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can handle the Big East this year.
That was the perfect expression.
I don't know. I don't know if I can handle the Big East this year. I mean, is the Big East? I know you haven't been here that long, but is this the best the Big East could actually ever look in terms of those 6 teams?
Well, it definitely was better than we could have expected, So, I mean, it's really going to be competitive. I can't wait, and especially for Nash Central when they're going to be going down a classification next year. This is going to be huge for them. They could be a pretty serious 2A team when it's all said and done next year.
That's a good point. That's a good win for them that they're building something they could even take with them to 2A. Well, we're going to wrap up this video with a couple other scores. Like I mentioned, Northern Nash winner 48-13 of Goldsboro. Southwest Edgecombe finally gets a victory, 27-20 over Bertie. North Edgecombe continues to roll 50-0 over Weldon. Rocky Mount Prep beats somebody that is not Northeast Carolina Prep. I don't know if it was going to happen, but they double up when Durham Kestrel Heights 56-28. And Northeast Carolina Prep losing again. They got shellacked 40-6, I believe, 42-6, something like that, from Robersonville, South Creek. So with that is it. We're going to put a bow on Week 5, and we'll be back next week for a look at the final week of non-conference play here on the Telegram Football Insiders.